Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. So I thought I'd put together the odds and ends video for you guys this week. Got some shop updates to do. I want to show you what's going on. You can kind of see behind me, we're starting to get some walls up in here. Things are moving along, so we'll go over that. Also, I've got some viewer mail in over the past, I don't know, it's probably been about a month now since we've done one of these. So we've got a couple of things there I want to share that viewers have sent along as well. So let's start off with a shop update, and then we'll go into the viewer mail. Well, if you look on the walls, we've gotten started, at least on the south end of the shop here, getting the wall material up. And several of you guys have been asking about what I'm going to do, so basically you see it here. This is what's called ply bead, and it's a plywood type material, but it actually has little beads milled into it, so it looks similar to the beadboard that we have on the ceiling. It's hard to see it probably from far away back, but when you look at it up close, you can see the grooves in it. And you know, it's a nice material, nice looking material, and I think it will fit into the shop pretty well. These just come in 4x8 sheets, so my walls are 10 feet high, so I was going to have a seam somewhere. I decided to put the seam down below, and I know you guys are probably seeing that. But that's actually going to be covered up. So I wasn't really too worried about having that transition down there. I'm going to come in here and basically take some sheet metal, roll of sheet metal, and kind of put it up on the wall, kind of as a wainscoting here. They'll come up about 3 feet. And my idea behind that is just to give me some fire protection. Particularly over in the welding area, but I'm just going to do it in the whole shop, I think, but particularly over in the welding area. If I'm ever welding or cutting with a cutting torch and something hot gets away from me, gets down, it's not going to come in direct contact with the wood. There'll be a metal barrier between it. And also, just like a wainscot would do, I mean, that's going to be the area that you would, you know, things would be bumped into, whatever. It just gives some extra protection down there. And I think it'll give a nice contrast and look nice. So anyway, that's the plan. I've got pretty much all the plywood up on the south end. The north end of the shop, we've still got to put the ceiling in, got to put the plywood up and everything over there. I've got most of the plywood for that. Probably going to be a couple of sheets shy, but that's no problem. I can run down and get a few more pieces as I need it. Looking up in the clear story area, we've also got that wall material up there now and kind of wrapped around above the door on the west side of the building. And so anyway, we went ahead and got all the high work done while we had the scaffolding set up in here all the way down. Still got to close in that end down there. And we still got to get our wood to do the ceiling. I'm still waiting on that. In fact, I need to call the mill and see what's going on with my tongue and groove board so we can go ahead and get that knocked out as well. When you look on the north side of the building, again, nothing up in the ceiling yet. Still got to put up all that beadboard, and then I'll probably go ahead and get started on the walls here over the next couple of days as I have some time. Go ahead and putting the sheet goods up on the walls. And just so you can kind of see what this ply bead material looks like, you can see the little grooves milled in there. And it just kind of gives it some character. Kind of makes it look like the ceiling again. I've also still got to come in here and do some molding work in the corners. You know, right now it's just all kind of roughed out. That'll have a much more finished look whenever I get to doing that. Again, between now and the first of the year, I'm going to have some time off work, and hopefully we'll be able to knock some of that out. Also plan out to kind of trim out around these windows and, again, give them more of a finished look. And I think it'll really dress it up once we do that. But it's coming along real nice. I'm real happy with how this is looking. Been on the road a lot last week traveling. I got a couple more days. This coming week traveling, you guys will probably see it on Friday. I'll be back home by then, but basically from the time you guys see this video on up through the first of the year, I'm taking a couple of weeks off of work, so taking some vacation time I haven't used this year. And while we got Christmas and got a lot of family stuff going on, a big chunk of that time I'm planning on spending out here in the shop, hopefully getting things kind of finished up or more finished along. I got some machinery I want to get moved in here, and hopefully get some things set up so that I can start, instead of working on the shop, start working in the shop and being able to start producing some videos. I'll be doing some work in here. Getting very anxious to be able to just walk out in the backyard and turn on a lathe or mill a machine or whatever, instead of having to drive into town to the museum to do all my work. So we're getting closer. It's coming along, guys. So there's a quick shop update. Again, between now and the end of the year, I hope to do a good bit more work in here. And if I can get my ceiling material in, maybe try to do another little work day, maybe not quite as big as the last one. But I've had several more since I put the video up last time, with folks that want to come down and help and have some time over the holidays. So if anybody out there is interested in doing that, shoot me an email down below, and I will be sure and send you an email when we try to put something together. It'll probably be another Saturday, although I will be out here working a lot during the week. I know a lot of you guys probably wouldn't be able to come during the week to help, so we may try to do another Saturday. I know around Christmas time it's probably going to be tough for folks to break away, but again, if you're available and want to help out between now and the end of the year, local in the area and have the means to do that, just let me know and we'll try to work something out. Well, now for some viewer mail, and the first item here comes to me from Rod Cox, and Rod sent this along. It's actually been sitting on my desk for several weeks now as I've been waiting to get this put together. But he made a comment. He says, you know, I'm watching your video and you're always having to go off camera to grab a wrench or something. He said he saw this in a Lee Valley catalog flyer and thought that this might come in handy. So it's a little pocket wrench. He said I can basically stick it in the pocket of my apron, and while it won't work on everything, it will sure fit a lot of different size nuts here or whatever. So it's just a little kind of universal wrench. You can adjust it up here and kind of just clamp down on a wrench or on a bolt or nut, excuse me, and get it. So let's try it out. I got a piece off the lathe over here. We can just try it out on real quick. So I've got the taper attachment off my LeBlanc lathe here, and let's see, here's a nut right here. You can come in here, put it on there. Yeah, and yeah, it's obviously not a total replacement for a wrench, I don't think, but for something quick and dirty, particularly a smaller nut that's maybe not too tight, I think this is a neat little tool. So this is the Chestnut Tools pocket wrench, and he got it from Lee Valley, so very cool. This is something I can just pop in the apron, or the pocket on my apron, and always have a wrench in my pocket. And like I said before, if you need the right wrench, you can walk over the toolbox for just something quick and dirty. This is kind of a cool little tool. So thanks, Rod. We'll definitely put this to use. I appreciate it very much. So next items here come to us from Randy Murdoch, who lives down in Fort Pierce, Florida. And Randy said he wanted to send me something for helping him find a manual for a machine he had over on the VintageMachinery.org website, and watches the videos and said, I didn't have really any idea what to send me, but when he was watching my episode, or one of my episodes working on the Vulcan locomotive, and I guess I came out pretty covered in grease and grime, which is not an unusual thing for me. He says, I know what he needs. He needs some good quality hand cleaners. So he packed me up a couple of bottles of this Zep orange heavy duty hand cleaner, and sent them along to me. And yes, this is something that we can definitely for sure use around here, because it seems like I'm always getting covered in grease from head to toe. And this will definitely help get cleaned up. Right now I don't have any water in the shop, but that's something that I'm planning on hopefully getting at least a sink out here pretty soon. I need that out here, so can't wait to have some running water where we can use this. So anyway, Randy, thanks a lot. This stuff is good. I've used it before, and appreciate it very much. And this is a nice supply of it that'll keep me cleaned up for some time to come. So thank you very much. I appreciate you sending that along. So the next item here is really kind of a cool piece, and this is going to be somewhat of a what's it or a mystery item as well. So I'm hoping that some of you guys out there can help us figure out exactly what this was used for, maybe how it was used. I've got some ideas, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are maybe looking at it and maybe have ideas as well. But a little bit about it. So this comes to us from Robert Barden, and Robert lives out in California, I think. Anyway, he said he found this in a secondhand store in California and purchased it and really wasn't quite sure of what it was for. His guess, and my first guess when I pulled out of the box even before I read his letter is that I think this is for shooting grades on a railroad. So you got some interesting clamps down here on the bottom that look like would fit over the top of a railhead, and then you got a little eyepiece here, a little telescope piece here that you can look at and basically sight it in on a point like a surveyor would do. But I'm not 100% sure. So this one we're going to put out to the jury. You guys are pretty good. So let me zoom you in on this and kind of give you a closer look at it and see what we can figure out on it. So here's the piece, and again, you got some little clamps down here on the bottom. What do you want to call it? They're kind of shaped like top of a railhead. You got a couple of thumb screws here to tighten this up. One side is pretty thick and fixed, whereas this one is more flexible on this side. But it looks like to me, it looks like it would go down on a railhead. Somebody may look at it and say, no, you're totally wrong. And if you say so, that's fine. I'm open to ideas. There is a little level here, so you can get this thing level from left to right. And then you've got the eyepiece here. And again, you can look down through here. The optics work. I can look down through it and see you got a focus here to kind of focus in and out. And there's also a little bit of a focus here on the eyepiece itself. And then you got a little adjuster here on the front that adjusts the angle of the eyepiece. So the interesting thing to me on this is I said, well, this is for shooting grades. But to me, what is obviously missing, or at least I think is obviously missing, is I would think that you would have some type of measurement on the angle on this thing so that you could determine the angle relative to, in this case, what we're suggesting, the rail. But I don't see any way of actually making a measurement like for shooting a grade. So I'm just not quite sure. I'm just not quite sure what this is. Now, there isn't really any markings on it other than two, and I'll zoom you in here and kind of show you these. But here on the back of the eyepiece, there is a marking in Chashion Kashan. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. That looks like perhaps a language other than English, a name. I did do a Google search, tried to search that name, and I really didn't come up with any hits. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time, but just typing the name into Google, nothing obvious came up. The only other mark on here is right down here on the top of the bar. There is stamped into the metal SD, and not sure what significance that might have as well. So here's what I'd like to do on this, guys. He sent this along. Quite honestly, this is probably going to end up going out to the museum, into their collection. This is, regardless of what it is, probably not something that I can use personally, but it is something that I think would be an interesting artifact out at the museum and something that could maybe put on display or whatever. If it is a railroading item, we have a lot of railroading tools at the museum. And it would make an interesting display of items and would add greatly to that collection that the museum already has. So, but what I really need for this is we need to absolutely positively identify this, and any information that we can get on exactly what it is and how it might have been used would be most appreciative. So here's what I want to do. If you guys, I've done this before, and you guys have constantly amazed me with the information that you can dig up. So I want to find documentation on this item. So if you can find, if you want to guess what it is, that's great. Put your comments down below. But what I'm really looking for here is I want someone to come up to me and say, here's the evidence. I've got this catalog picture or this, documentation or whatever, instructions on how to use this that really shows this piece or something very similar to it. Ideally, it would be this exact piece that we could really properly identify it. So if you can come up with that, anybody that comes up with that information, the first person comes up with that information anyway, I'm going to send a little channel decal. Yeah, it's not much, but we'll send a little channel decal out. If you're the first person to positively identify this with some evidence, not just sending me an email, but I want to see some documentation to go along with it. It can be a website. You can send me a scanned picture or something like that to my email right down here below. But anyway, we'd like to just get this properly identified. And I'm always amazed with what you guys out there can do. And we'll shoot another follow-up video on this, assuming that we come up with a good answer, and share that with everybody so everybody will know what it is. So that's the game plan. Help me out. Let's figure out what this is. Thanks a lot. Next item we have here is pretty cool. These are some items that are actually manufactured by one of my viewers, Ryan Shanks, who has a company, Logic Industries. And one of the little items that they make is this is what they call an air base. And he wanted to send me along, he sent along a little package of 4 of these to install in the new shop for my air system. I told him it may be a little while before we get that hooked up. But at some point in time, we are going to be putting some air lines in here. And let me zoom you in here and tell you about these. This is kind of a neat little idea. So the idea behind these air bases is having a place to plug your air in, just a little base unit, I guess, that you can mount on a wall, mount on a machine, whatever, and have a place to put your air into. And these are, they're basically little manifolds that are CNC machined out of solid aluminum. So you got 4 mounting holes here for like a socket head screw would countersink down into those. That would then mount up against whatever you're going to mount it on. Your air would come in this line here, and his idea is here, you got a little brass fitting, pipe fitting there, I assume, and what he recommends using is this PEX. It's basically a water line for doing water, but you can also run air with this. And this is rated up to, what do you say, 160 PSI, I think. Yeah, 160 PSI. And you can very easily run this around your shop and just using these little crimp tool that goes with it here. I don't have the actual tool to crimp this, but you can buy that at Lowe's or whatever in the plumbing section. But you can very easily run lines from one place to another. Of course, you don't have to use the PEX. You could use just a regular fitting or whatever to go in there. But I kind of like that PEX idea, particularly for the little short runs, maybe between your main line down to a drop or whatever. And then, of course, in the front here, you got another pipe fitting there, and this is just a nipple and an air coupler here. So that would be your quick disconnect air coupling. So anyway, Ryan sent along 4 of these for me to use in the shop, and he wanted me to kind of get the word out on them. Got their little logo on the back there. But if you're interested in buying any of these yourselves, you can go to their website. I'll put all these links down below in the comments, but it's www.logic-industries.com. He also has a YouTube channel under the username Logic Industries. You can go view some videos, and look at here. He even sent along, this is kind of cool. So for some of you really technical folks, if you can take your camera, hold it up there, scan the little code here, and it'll take you right to their website. So there you go. You had your chance if you want to do that. So anyway, they sent along instructions here. Threw the box on the floor. Instructions on how to mount them, what type of sealant to use, all that kind of stuff. So Ryan, thanks a lot. We'll definitely, whenever we get our air lines hooked up in the shop, we'll give these a try. We'll have at least 4 places in the shop where we'll have these mounted. And I've already kind of got an idea where I'm going to put them. So anyway, looking forward to giving these a try, and maybe coming to buy some more of those from you. Ryan also sent along a couple of decals. Now that I kind of got my walls up on the shop in here, guys, I'm planning on hopefully soon getting a whiteboard or something where I can get all my decals. I've got a bunch of them that people have sent me and that I've gotten from other channels, and I want to get them all displayed. So I'm about where I can get that done as well. So we'll add that decal to the collection. Well, guys, I think that'll be a wrap on this episode of Odds and Ends. Thanks for sticking along and getting to see the shop updates as well as some viewer mail that came in. Thank you, everybody that sent items into the channel. Appreciate it very greatly, and really looking forward over the next couple of weeks, hopefully having some time to be able to concentrate on working on getting this shop a little bit farther along so that we can hopefully actually get to start working out here real soon. So thanks a lot, guys, and with that, we'll sign off, and leave me some comments. As always, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks a lot.